right? And again, it's like you said, it's not like everybody, but certainly there's a whole ton of information that's connected to just women of color being valued or the lack thereof, right? And it's just a very layered conversation because, you know, whether you're talking about hip hop or you're just talking about acknowledgement and value as a woman of color, it's definitely not the same distinction. When you talk, you know, women who are white women, let me just go there. We're talking about a whole different value system societally. We're talking about a whole different, even on a job platform, you know. So, and then here's the thing. Here's where it gets tricky. So not only are you not embraced most days on a societal level or have to go through all kind of challenges, sometimes then you have to deal with the challenge when you come home, because now society, and again, this is a systematic thing in my opinion, right? Which has been spearheaded through slavery, is this distinction between man and woman, meaning the black man and black woman in that family, right? And so now there's almost this unconscious competition sometimes between you and your partner, right? Whether it's fear or whether it's power struggles, you know, because yes, things are definitely changing. There are way more MCs, there are way more women in business, there are way more women in administrative positions and things like that. But with that now comes a sense of tension in the home in regards to, like you said, the word femininity and home and role. So it's like you have to turn on the role to go outside and turn off the role to come inside. And sometimes the roles get switched. They get, and forget being a female MC. Good Lord. Oh, you want to come look pretty and then rhyme in a cipher with dudes and what? So this is a very, very, very layered conversation, but a very interesting one, and certainly one that I think needs to be had for sure.
Yes. And continue to be had, obviously. Like this, wow. Y'all just said a lot right there. I loved it all. I loved hearing everything y'all did.
Same here.
I got a lot more to say.
We have to dance. We have to know how to do the dance. So pun intended with the poll. We have to know how to do the dance.
Yeah.
And be delicate enough to know how to navigate around this situation with this particular, you know, in that circle, and then how to be stronger, more forceful in other situations. There's a lot of navigation, you know, and that's exhausting.
Word. I've had a lot of issues in my career where, I mean, I was dating and he couldn't handle the fact that people would constantly come up to me and ask me, hey, are you so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, you're the artist formerly known as. And I'm like, yeah. And like, he couldn't handle it. And one day we were having dinner and somebody interrupted us while we were having dinner. You shouldn't be doing that. But they did. The next day he wanted to have lunch with me at work. He picks me up and I'm standing outside and he says, you know, I'm having a hard time dealing with your popularity. And he was like, you know everybody. I'm like, I don't know everybody. They know me. That's it. But they know my name. They know what I do. They don't know me personally. And while we're standing there talking, somebody drives by in a van and yells out my artist name, just screams it. And he goes, you see, that's what I'm talking about, and broke up with me right there in the spot. Then I had another dude that I once dated that told me he didn't like dating me because I made more money than him. And for a minute there, I just stopped dating altogether. I think I went like 3 years before I started dating somebody again. And it wasn't because I was hurt. It was because I was just like too powerful. They did not understand my level of the dream that I was trying to catch, the goals I was trying to achieve, and why I had to work so much harder to get into an industry that was once again completely overrun by the male ego. And it was a really strange thing and really hard for a lot of people to accept that instead of me running out to galleries and begging them, please take my artwork, I had art galleries calling me. And then, then they start looking at you like, okay, well, why do you deserve that? Because I worked for it. Because made a name for myself. And when you see my artwork, you can't tell if a woman or a man made it. That's why. So, but once they see you and they figure out, oh snap, you female, then they want to change their minds and be like, why? Like, why you? So, big ups to all the ladies out there. Anybody who's trying right now and anybody else who's reached their goals. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't. I promise it's worth it.
You know, I wish that men. This is like a really serious. Smoke, could you turn down your volume, perhaps? Just a little bit.
All right.
There we go. Yeah. Hopefully in time, more men get on board like they should, because for Black men, we do several dances as well, you know, and have to wear several hats and masks and all types of everything. And it's like, if we're dancing and they're dancing, we need to be dancing together, two-stepping together, or doing whatever it is, but not different songs. Like, we need to be together. And that's why I enjoy connecting with women like you, like y'all, because we're supposed to be in this together. That's just my opinion.
Indeed. I agree 100%. Shout out to all the men who are out there supporting their women, you know, right by their, you know, side, you know, putting things up, posting things, helping, you know, it is a team effort, you know, and I feel like that is in the root of just a unit. You know, my mother and father happened to be married for 50 plus years. And one thing I will say that I've observed is they're a collective team. They work together. And so you're right. It is about doing the dance together and knowing when to kind of push up, step back, step to the side, work together. It is in fact a dance. I think that's the perfect metaphor, you know, and I do feel like when you know what you're doing and how you can contribute and bring that to the table and vice versa, then you know which steps you both need to take. And then sometimes I feel like, you know, it is a rhythm. So sometimes you're going to step on each other's toes. You're going to step on toes until you, oh man, now we got this. You know, you swinging, you know, my other half is a Chicagoan. You know, he could step. I can't step for shit. You know what I mean? I'll step on his feet or something, but you know what I mean? I'm a horrible dancer, but it's just, I've always been in awe of people who can dance. My daughter's an amazing dancer, you know, and with that comes a certain understanding of movement. And I feel like the more that you learn, not just your partner, but more importantly yourself, then you know how to move, you know, and for me, I think what maybe part of what's made me maybe a horrible dancer, other than not being great at movement fluidly on the mic, is a different thing. Although there's always still more to learn there for me as well. But you know, it just comes with time, I guess, and confidence in your step and knowing what you're bringing to the table. And it just after a minute you start to know who you are and you know who your partner is and you know how to work together collectively. Very rare do you just kind of come in automatically and off top, you know, y'all swing it. No, it takes a minute, and even after 50 years you can get a little thrown like, oh, we doing a cha-cha, not the tango, like even then it takes them, oh, okay, hold, what are we doing here? And then that synchronicity, you know, but when it's on, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I just, you know, I can only hope and pray that more Black families and families of color are able to do that, because that in itself is the root of community.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you're not talking about communities if your family structure ain't right. So
my wife is a very powerful woman on many levels, in many ways, for many reasons.
Yes, you better acknowledge her. That's right, Mikkel.
Okay. And she's also producing the episode as well. So shout out to her. But I said that, yes, shout out to Mikkel Drew Pelham and her sister Nicole that's in the comments and on our other show, Like It Ain't. But I mentioned her, and even with Vic, with his wife, I'm not speaking for him, but I'm just saying it's inspiring to be with a woman so powerful. I don't see how you can cower to that or how you're intimidated by that, like how Smoke was talking. Like, that's some fuck shit.
Word.
I can't put it in any other words. It's just, Vic, you know.
Shout out to Inspired Artist Movement. My wife's brand, straight up entrepreneur at her best. So I definitely agree with your sentiments, brother. Like, the women, this is why I'm taking it all in. My mouth has been closed for the most part. Like, I'm just loving this. We always say each episode when the ladies are on, ladies first. Now here's that time and that platform for all of that. And I'm just soaking up everything and loving it.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Me
and
too.
I agree. I haven't heard anything that I disagree with thus far.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I love this.
So, shout out to y'all. Straight up. Queen, Smoke. And I just, you know, it at the same time as I'm loving this and I'm taking everything in, it breaks my heart to hear, you know, we've touched on this on a few other episodes, just like we go through things as men, as Black men, brown, you know, Black and brown men. But you guys, like, I can't even imagine, honestly. And to Queen's point earlier about like giving birth, this is something that Monie Love touched on Ladies First. This is why I feel like that record is such a powerful joint. Yeah. To this day, it still rings bells. Like, it's still prevalent to what's going on. You know what I mean? With the women and just your legacy as women and what you've done for this country, what you've done for your men, your partners, for each other. You know, that song really needs to be uplifting a lot more, in my opinion, because it's not just a song.
Right.
It's not just a song. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, what I will say, which is in a positive thing, and I think that this comes with time and just aging and getting older, right? Wisdom, in that when you're younger, at least for me, I'll just speak from my own experience. When I was younger, meaning like 16, 17, 18, I mean, even though there was so much more to learn, obviously, to life, but when you're in that teenage stage, I mean, lyrically, as an artist, as a person, you couldn't tell me shit. You know, you're a teenager, right? I bring this up because it's a valid point, right? So I feel like with men around that age, there's a different sense of camaraderie. Like, oh, that's your boy, and it may be on some straight Wu-Tang deep 10, 12 dudes, 20 dudes, like that's your people. Whereas with women at that age, because you are still working on identity, who you are, you're becoming more of a sexual being, a little bit older, dudes are checking for you and things of that nature. So I feel like instead of necessarily coming together, oftentimes you may have your one or two close friends in your clique, but for the most part, it's like, who that chick? And I think then societal, because then it becomes competitive for dudes, for attention. Right. And that's just on a genetic thing. Like, you're getting older, your body's kind of like, oh, who's that? You know what I mean? Just on a development level. I mean, so you're not doing anything that's technically abnormal. I feel like as you get older, you get wiser, you understand the sense of sisterhood. And me personally, I never did like sororities. I guess me being that kind of nomadic, I'm good, you know, I never did that. So I never had that. And then having all brothers, I'm the only, you know, woman in the family as far as sibling wise. My brothers, that was kind of they clique, and I kind of attached, linked onto that. But getting older, there are women who I know who I've collaborated with now that we knew each other years ago. We were in the same realm, and I think we always respected what each other were doing because we were dope. We just were, like, we were talented, but we never linked, we never connected. And then years later was like, yo, you want to do this joint? Hell yeah. Because you understand that, again, that word empowerment, this idea of doing things collectively as a movement. And it's like, all right, well, maybe we're not being recognized as a whole within just the realm of what this culture is with everyone, but we recognize each other. So let's connect and let's do things. And I think that's why there's so many movements now that are also women led. You know, shout out to Universal Hip Hop Museum right now, and Martha Diaz, you know, who I just recently started connecting with, doing some things. They're doing an amazing things over there in the development with the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And there's a whole division. I had a meeting earlier just discussing women in hip hop. So and making sure that there's the proper recognition and acknowledgement and the contributions that have been made with women in hip hop. So I just feel like, you know, you get older, you get wiser, you learn, and you understand the science behind connecting and how empowering that is beyond yourself, you know. And Smoke mentioned the word ego in connection with dudes, but, you know, everyone has ego, and I agree 120,000% of what she said. But in addition to that, women have ego too.
Queen, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to piggyback off what you're saying, because I'm a student of this from the infancy of hip hop. And I've seen the scale kind of go up and down with the women in hip hop, where it was like you saw the soloists, like your Shyrock, your Shantays, your Lights. It was kind of an individual thing. Then you saw your Salt and Pepper, Finesse the Sequence, Body and Soul. So my point is, like, you would see like a scale up and down where it was a solo thing, but then it went from that to camaraderie. And then you saw like the females battling each other. Then you saw them like doing the collaborations. To your point with the ego thing, do you think that was more of like an industry planted thing where it was a division, divide and conquer, or you think it was really just a competitive for the culture?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I definitely think that there's always a sense of division that's created for women, aka the cat fight. You know, maybe I might see this pop out. I think there's always that, whether we're talking literally or we're talking figuratively, because you know, religion does it every day to conquer and divide, right? So, and why is it done? Because it's economic. So it's like, okay, well, if we split that, and if we got, you know, I'm just for point's sake, if we got the Cardi versus the the Kim versus the Fox, I'll do that analogy. If we do the Kim versus the Fox, whoa, now we got a war going on. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a whole bunch of, oh shoot, Kim, oh Fox.
Yeah.
That division in itself, Mikhail's laughing. That division in itself, real talk though, that division in itself creates a buzz. That pushes the market in a sense for both of them, but then it's at what risk? Then you have two women that technically could have collaborated hypothetically, but now there's a sense of division because it's marketable to do that.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like perhaps some of it is conscious and decided like, I'm just trying to work with her, I'm doing me, I ain't feeling her. But is there an aspect of it being placed that way, whether it's marketing, branding wise, putting it in people's heads, societal? Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely think that two men ain't gonna argue a man ain't gonna argue two women fighting over, you know, oh shoot, let me sit back some popcorn first. And then, after 3-4 minutes, oh y'all wilding, come on, baby, relax. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know,
hold on, wait a minute. Yeah.
Wait a second, hold on, baby. You know, but there's entertainment in it for him, right? So on a larger scale of the audience as consumers, there's entertainment in it. Now, is that fair or right? No, but is it profitable? Yes.
Yeah, sex sells. In whatever form.
And tension.
Intention.
War. War is one of the biggest profitable things ever.
If not,
there'll always be war because there's always going to be a fight over something, and there's always profit from it.
Yeah. Facts.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I was here for some of it. You know, like I've been watching all this week. John and I have been doing a deep dive with the women in hip hop. And like I said, being a student, I was a huge fan of the Light versus Antoinette battle. I was here for it. And it's not because one looked good and the other one was that, like, they were both lyricists to me. And I loved it. Genuinely loved the battle back and forth. But as I'm listening to Antoinette explain the story, like it still sounded like a lot of the dudes were behind it. Like Audio 2 pushed Light to diss Antoinette first.
Period.
Or, you know, it wasn't really them per se that made the decision to go back and forth with each other. You know what I mean? So
the orchestration, right. And again, and then you question, well, who was behind that? And then when you do see it's male oriented, it's like, okay, well, then what was the motive? So I see who, why. You know what I mean? And again, you just have to question it. But again, I do believe it's connected to the economic aspect and the marketing aspect of it. It's just that women, we kind of suffer from that aspect of not being able, well, you can still build, but I'm saying it's profit. It's like I hate to compare it to, this is not, but it's like, you know, two pretty pits against each other. All right, let's see who wins. I mean, it shouldn't be, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt, definitely.
You know,
if you're gonna let ladies in the room in the end they'll only allow one. You know, a lot of these groups, till this day, you will see a whole group of rappers. They will all be male, and then there'll be one girl in the front, and that's it. And then half the time, you know, in photos, you know, social media, they'll show her up front, but then later on they all walk away and she's the only one left in the room. Like, okay, what's happening now? You know, like,
and you know, for both,
I learned how to live like that though. Like, I learned how to be left alone in the room and still be successful. So, if you're a woman right now watching this show and you have felt that way, this is something that I tell a lot of my girls. And it's a little bit vulgar, so I apologize, but you are the most powerful person in the room simply because you have tits and ass. They fear you because of your body parts, because of what your body can do. You are a universe. You can create life. You can also take it back. Okay? But understand that because you are also the most powerful person in the room, because they fear you, they will leave you. They will leave you out of the loop. They won't let you rotate around their solar system. That's why you are your own universe and you have to move on and continue with your own shit. Like, don't be worried about whatever it is they're doing and who they're working with, who they're trying to sleep with. That has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. Just go on about your business, do what you got to do, because you already know that you're extremely powerful because you were in that room. You are so powerful. So, but it's going to take a lot of work and probably a few more generations to get people to understand that we are just as equally important as anybody and in any industry, you know, any industry.
You know, I wanted to say back to what Vic was saying as well about the whole thing with the females beefing with each other and everything in records, especially Antoinette and MC Lyte. Herbie Lovebug was the one pushing the strings on the Showstopper with Salt and Pepper. Mm-hmm. And he was also involved in this one with Antoinette and MC Lyte. So
he loved it.
I'm not trying to put him on blast. I'm just putting the facts out there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know? So he was definitely involved in pushing that narrative early on with the females.
What's the dude, the boxing dude with the hair? The tall
Don King.
Oh, Kid.
So that's the king method.
It was.
Oh, Don King Jr. method.
Yeah. If you think with Roxanne Shante, you know, Marley Marl wanted her to record a record dissing somebody. So the first few females that came in, they were kind of pushed by the men that were behind them, behind the boards, saying, go diss this person.
I play devil's advocate for a moment too. When you think about it, like I remember for myself growing up, rhyming, writing, you know, my brothers were like, I remember my brother Fever one day, he's like, you need to be able to rhyme to anything. I was like, what if it's fast? I don't care. You need to be able to rhyme to anything. I used to practice rhyming over beats that had lyrics just to challenge myself. So even though I was listening to the lyrics and being distracted to an extent, I still wanted to be able to, can I stay focused enough on task, on the track, just to still rhyme and stay focused with what I needed to do. So I just want to throw that idea of sometimes we will always rise to the occasion. We will always rise to the challenge. We are, that's how we're built. Right? That's how we're built. So it's like you put us in the fight, we still gonna do what we need to do.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And I think that's just, but that goes back to the word exhaustion too. Like just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that you always want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because you're capable of it. And I think that's a thing too that comes with age. It's like, you know, I'm good here. I don't need to. I know who I am. When you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm proving who I am. You know, later on, I know my seat, you know what I mean? And it's a throne. Even if it's one of them plastic joints that fold up and you open, you sit down, like it don't change. I know what my throne looks like regardless.
Right.
So
I agree. I love this. All right, so let's go into a couple songs still. We got some things.
Yeah, we went heavy fast. We went heavy fast.
Heavy. I love it.
What happens? That's what happens.
Testing my mic, 1 2 1 2. I'm here to entertain. If this means you don't need no help all by myself, I proceed cause you need to enjoy yourself. Try to compare? Oh, don't you dare, cause I'm sweeter than the cream in a French eclair. Smoother than the ice in a skating rink. Have I forgot anything? Let me think. Oh yeah, I take a pen, draw you all in line. You'll find that I'm a lyrical mastermind. The more you scream, the more I strive to get live. Put your body in overdrive. Let's check the situation from a serious tip. Wanna hear something whack? Well, this ain't it, cause the beat is deaf. And now you're told to prepare to work out a little rock and roll. Lace them shoes, tighten up that belt, and beware, cause it's something that you never felt. Cause it's rough and rough, hip it and hip. Don't be a drip, let it rip, but on a smooth tip.
Yo, Sweet Tea.
Salute. Oh my God. I used to love that record, man. Still do. Still
yes.
love it.
Yes. Oh man. But you know, Vic, you just mentioned Antoinette, so we gotta go to that. Let's go to that.
Potent, lethal but steady. Man, your battle stations, I'm ready. Cold getting bigger, and I don't like figure. Play me if you want and make like a trigger. Squeeze off the best. You can huff and fuck, but it's kitty stuff. Because your best ain't good enough. Stand at attention, your body in line. This ain't your average rhyme. If it is, it ain't mine. Ducks, has-beens, I'ma show them all. I'm not a joker, but I laugh, cause y'all can't brawl. I roll the mic, smoke, I lay it to rest. Embalmed in my palm, I touch it and it's blessed. Got style, I know the routine. All punks, pop and jump, can't join my team. I got an attitude.
Those were the days with no hooks. No sing-song. Exactly, that's it. Plain and simple.
Yo.
Salute.
And then Light came back with this. Oh. And you can hear attitude in the background. They're playing it in the background like, oh shit.
Hot damn, ho, here we go again. Suckers steal a beat when you know they can't win. You stole the beat, are you having fun? Now me and the odds gonna show you how it's done. You are what I label as a nerve plucker. You're plucking my nerves, you MC sucker. I thought I ought to tell you, better yet warn, that I am like a stock and my word is born. Like James, killing everybody in sight. The Code Street 6, the name is Light. After this jam, I really don't give a damn, cause I'ma run and tell your whole damn clan that you're a
beat fighter, dope style taker. Tell you to your face, you ain't nothing but a faker. Beat fighter, dope style taker. Tell you to your face, you ain't nothing but a faker.
Yo, a beat biter, dope style taker. Tell it
to your face, you ain't nothing but a faker. Ooh. I was here for it. I love them both. Love them both.
I love her. I love her.
Yeah,
Light's voice was just
my
classic.
hero.
Exactly.
My hero.
Exactly.
Light's voice was classic. I think for me that was one of the most attractive qualities, was just her voice.
Sure.
Very captivating. She had just one of them classic voices. That's one of the things that makes, you know, an MC really, really dope too, in addition to the other aspects. But voice.
Yes.
Classic voice.
Like Guru said, it's mostly the voice. And for me as an MC, I would say she was one of the most inspiring MCs for me, with her articulation her intelligence.
My brother, you gotta love family. You gotta love them. You gotta love them. I gotta get him extra.
She was the only female that I knew of that dudes knew the lyrics, and they ride along with the lyrics right with her. She was the only one.
Yeah. Well, she was the first for me.